All right, y'all, here we are with Wednesday's lesson. We are going to start doing some matrix multiplication today. I know this is the first video lesson. I think with Mondays and Tuesdays, that stuff was easy enough that the guided notes just could have got you by. If not, shoot me an email or we can do a Google Hangout or whatever's going to be easiest and best for all of you. But I think that this is one that definitely warranted a video lesson. You can pause, fast forward, rewind. If you remember all this stuff, that's fine. If after doing one example on the calculator you feel like you're good, it's completely up to you. This video is maxed out at 15 minutes. It won't let me go any longer, but hopefully we won't need that much time anyway. When you're finished with this, there'll be a short, quick, little, easy, Edulastic matrix multiplication assessment. Just get that knocked out. Remember, these are all completion grades for this week. Starting next week, if we're still online, it'll be correctness grades. If we're back in class, well, we'll figure that out from there. So here in front of me, I've got this worksheet, and you have access to it also in our Google Classroom. And across top, we've got four matrices A, B, C, and D. They're named. We know how to do them. They're 2 by 3, 2 by 3, 2 by 2, 3 by 2, 2 by 3. We'll talk more about that in a second. For matrix multiplication, there's one really, really big rule right here in the middle. Matrix multiplication is only defined if, and it's kind of weird, if the number of columns in the first matrix is equal to the number of rows in the second matrix. Okay, if those are equal, then we can go ahead and multiply these together. If they're not equal, we can't. And we'll see more of that in a second. One little caveat to this then is that once we have determined if we can multiply them together or not, then the number of rows of the first matrix and the number of columns of the second give you the dimensions of the product. That seems kind of weird, I know. Just kind of hang with me, follow through, and this will kind of click and make sense here in a second. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to come down here and we're going to look at B times D. Okay. So if I look at matrix B up here, matrix B I know is a 2 by 2. So B is a 2 by 2. 2 rows, 2 columns. Matrix D is a 2 by 3. So from this matrix multiplication definition, if these two middle numbers are the same, okay, if these two are the same, then we can multiply them together. If they're different, we can't. Well, here, since I've got a 2 for my columns in the first matrix and a 2 for my rows in the second matrix, they're equal, they're the same, so I can multiply these together. So I also know that my final answer, my solution, is going to have the dimensions of 2 by 3. So the two in the middle say, can we do it? Yes, we can. Bob the Builder. The ones on the outside tell us how big the answer is. Now, that doesn't necessarily matter about the outside parts because we are going to be doing this on the graphing calculators. Like I said, I know most of you have graphing calculators. If not, there's a link to a Chrome extension you can download in our Google Classroom. If those still don't work, shoot me an email and we have a few other things we can do. You can do these by hand. It's more difficult, takes a little more time, but it can be done. Like I said, doing it on the calculator is also great ACT prep because there will be some matrix type questions on the ACT, and we're just looking to save time. So I'm going to pull up my calculator now. And this video is good because it goes through and shows you which buttons you have to press. So that way you can pause, fast forward, rewind, and keep pulling this video up. If you forget how to multiply the matrices, for which buttons to push, it's all here. And it's kind of weird, it's kind of hard. You do have to follow a certain process, but if you do it a few times, it's not bad. So the first thing is I've got, right here in blue, I've got this matrix word. So I'm going to go second matrix. And you can see we've got 3 across the top: names, math, and edit. Starting tomorrow, we're going to be working with math a little bit more, but for today, we're just going with names and edit. So edit is where we're going to be creating our matrices. So I'm going to go over to edit. I'm going to type in matrix B. Now, up here, it says that matrix B, we just talked about, is a 2 by 2. So I want matrix to be a 2, enter 2. You can see it'll create a 2 by 2 matrix. Now, all I have to do is type in the values. 1, enter, 8, enter, -9, enter. 5, enter. Now, the only thing you have to remember is every time you finish creating a matrix, you always have to go back to that home screen and start over. It's just kind of a weird thing. It's the way the calculator works. Now I'm going to enter in matrix D. So second matrix, edit. Now, the fact that these say A, B, C, and D really don't matter. Mine aren't going to line up to how they're labeled on the worksheet, A, B, C, D. If you want them to, they can. If not, that's fine. As long as my first matrix is a 2 by 2 and the second matrix is a 2 by 3, that's all that really matters. So my next matrix is a 2 by 3. So you can see its layout looks just like matrix D. So this is 7, enter, 3, enter, 5, enter, 4, -2, and 1. And again, I finished entering a matrix, so now I just have to go back to that home screen. The hard part's done. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply these two together. I'm going to go back to my matrix menu. Now this time, this is where, under the names menu, is where I perform the operations. So I'm going to call up that first matrix my 2 by 2. And I want to take that matrix times my second matrix, which in this case is a 2 by 3. So it says matrix A times matrix B. My first two matrices multiplied together, and we get our solution. So we can see that if I do matrix B times matrix D, I get this as my answer. I'll actually screenshot that. I will put it to desktop. Screen 1. And then I'll come in here, insert picture. So we can see there is our answer for first problem. Now let's take a look at A times C. So we use the same matrices from above. So now if I look at matrix A has the dimensions of 2 by 3. Matrix C is a 3 by 2. So remember, all I care about right now are these middle two numbers. So in the middle, I've got a 3 and a 3. So I know that, yes, I can multiply these two together. And my answer is going to be these on the outside, so 2 by 2. And like I said, when you see how this is multiplied by hand, it'll make sense as to why. But we'll get there in a later date. Right now, like I said, we're going for ease and efficiency. So now we just have to go back to the calculator and do the exact same thing we just did. So I'm going to pull up my calculator. I'm going to go back to my matrix menu. Over here, matrix menu. So second matrix, edit. And I'm going to change this matrix this time to be a 2 by 3. 2 by 3. 6, 2, -1, 0, 4, 7. Home screen. Matrix menu again. Now I just created that first matrix and I'm going to edit that second matrix. See, this time it is a 2 by 3, which it's already set up for. Nope, I lied. This time it's a 3 by 2. 3 by 2. Dimensions look the same. 5, 7, 0, 12, -3, and 1/2. Okay, matrix B is in. Go to that home screen. Now again, I'm going to take just those two matrices and multiply them together. Second matrix A times second matrix, second one. And my answer when I press enter should be a 2 by 2 matrix. And it is. So we'll screenshot that too. Save yes. So when I multiplied A times C, and like I said, doing it on the calculator is really, really quick, really easy. Doing it by hand, it's a little bit more of a process, does take a little more time. You all are capable of doing it, and I'll show you how to do that once sometime later on, just so you understand, by multiplying rows and columns. It's all based upon that color-coded 3x3, 2x2 rule we have up here for how things work out. But we'll save that for another day. Now, if we look at our last two examples, I'm going to do D times B. So matrix D right here, this is a 2 by 3. 2 by 3. And matrix B, that's a 2 by 2. 2 by 2. So if you notice, the one thing that's weird about matrix multiplication, the very first one I did was B times D. So typically in multiplication, if you just take the order and you flip them, you end up with the same answer. But matrices are a little bit different. Because if you look when I did B times D, it was a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 3. The middle numbers matched, so we multiplied. Now if I change the order of these, now in the middle, you can see that I have a 3 and a 2. These two numbers do not match. Because these two numbers do not match, there's no solution to this. So like I said, matrix multiplication is a little bit different than traditional multiplication in that just because you have the same two matrices, the order does matter in which we multiply these together. And we'll see more of that probably on Friday when we do some matrix to use solving equations. Okay, so D times B did not exist, but B times D did. So last one we're going to look at is A squared. So A squared is a 2 by 3. So A is a 2 by 3. And we're going to multiply it by itself. But again, if you see here in the middle, in turn, I again cannot multiply these together because, again, those middle two numbers don't match. So like I said, it breaks some of our traditional multiplication rules, but it's because we're multiplying matrices. We're not just multiplying numbers together. So that's basically the 4 problems we wanted to look at. It should be pretty simple. It should be pretty quick. The big thing is just knowing how to enter these in the calculator. Go ahead, head on over to Edulastic. There are just 3 sample problems for you to work on. Do it all in the calculator, type your answer in as a matrix, and you'll be done. If you have any questions, reach out to me, let me know. Email, Google Hangouts, whatever. And hopefully I will see you all soon. Take care, y'all.